very much, Ambassador Najmuddin Sheikh, for putting in some very nice words for me. I always tell people that I can even mount, or climb Mount Everest with this stick of mine. But when the time comes to implement my promises, I shy away. So if you don't mind, I'll speak from here instead of going there and speaking from there. I'm also very grateful to Rabta Forum International and to Nusrat Mirza Sahab for inviting me here. It always gives a lot of energy when you see such bright people, especially young people sitting in front of you. I'm used to captive audience, but it's still very nice when you find some more captive audience. I don't have any, we don't have any system of timing, and I get carried away when I'm speaking. So I don't know, I might take a little extra time, or the good news is that I can even stop before my time. Whenever I feel that I have said more or less what I wanted to say in capsule form, I will end my talk. I often ask myself, why do people look upon nuclear energy as something dangerous, as something very, which can result in the use of nuclear weapons? I think the reason is, although they all know that nuclear energy has a lot of peaceful applications, but the reason is that United States, when they had this breakthrough, when a German scientist working for United States produced nuclear weapons, this capability, United States was the first one to use 2 nuclear weapons against Japan, a non-nuclear country. And that is, it started a new era in world affairs, in international affairs. The introduction of this technology was really a turning point in international relations. And then during the Gulf War, the British used nuclear-tipped bombs in Iraq, which caused cancer on a very large scale, especially among children. So I think the world has only seen the destructive side of nuclear weapons, but nuclear technology is not destructive. As we learned in the keynote address, Dr. Ansar Pervez highlighted all the peaceful nuclear users of nuclear technology. I think we always say that Pakistan has a very large pool of young people. Are we ready to create jobs for all these young people? Our economy will have to expand at a very impressive, pace if we really want to become an economic power, and we are ready to create jobs for our young people. Young people can be an advantage, they can also be a disadvantage. We can't produce jobs for them, means of livelihood for them. So I look upon developing sources of energy as the most important challenge before us. Right now we have a huge gap when our consumption is should be, or it touches the level of 5,000 megawatts of electricity is needed. We have 2,000 or 2,500 megawatts, which means that this gap is a big source of problems for the planners, for people like you and me, because we suffer from load shedding. So this load shedding, and every government tells us that within 3-4 years this will end. It takes care of their period, and they say that we've taken steps because of which the next government is going to reap all the benefits. So far, I've not seen this come true in my lifetime. I hope it does in future. So the world is moving towards renewable sources of energy, solar energy and wind energy. But whatever little reading, I'm not a technical person, but whatever little reading I've done, it seems that nuclear and solar energy, wind energy, they are good sources of energy, but not very dependable, because there are times when the wind really stops. Perhaps not in places like Karachi, but if we depend on this in long terms, then solar, sometimes sun is not visible in some parts of our country, although Karachi always has scorching heat. But so I think along with this, people also talk about tidal energy, and Karachi can use that as a source. In some countries, they are producing energy. Japan, for example, one of their northern islands, they are burning garbage. And first they convert that into some kind of blocks. And then those blocks can be used in homes for energy, for heating purposes. And you know, it's a very innovative kind of thing. People are using all kinds of things. But I think nuclear energy, a lot of work has been done. Pakistan has good potential. Dr. Parvez told us that Pakistan's track record is also very healthy and very good in that sense. The safety in our nuclear centers, and you know, they measure up to the best standards in the world. So I think, I'm not saying that there's room for complacency, but I'm saying that we can use it. It takes a lot of investment in the beginning, but after that investment has been made, it becomes easier to manage, more economical to manage. So I think that we can develop this source. Germany and Japan have been depending on this, and we learned in the keynote address that India is also planning to use it in a big way. But Japan, you know, when they had this earthquake, some natural calamity during which there was a kind of disaster, and people, the environmental lobby, they are really scared now. I remember there was a movement against the nuclear power plants that are being established around Karachi. So the environment lobby came into operation and they raised hue and cry. I think it's very good to be cautious. I'm all for safety, but what I'm trying to suggest is that we need nuclear power plants along with other sources of energy. In our neighborhood, India is planning to do that. China is also in our neighborhood. They are depending on this. So I think we should not shy away from this means only because there is international pressure, and also because in our country, also the environment lobby is becoming strong. But this should happen through dialogue. We should be able to convince them. We should be able to tell them that this is a very safe method. That can happen only through dialogue. As far as food and agriculture, I think that here also Pakistan's food security needs to be strengthened. Food security is one area where, and water security, along with energy security, we need to work in these areas. And food production, I read somewhere recently that 50% of the food we produce either goes waste, it's destroyed, and so we are left only with the remaining 50%. If we can find safe ways of preserving our food, dealing with all the insect attacks on our crops, our production will automatically go up because the material that is wasted will not be wasted. But when it comes to food, I think similar concerns appear. People feel that this food, we are using nuclear energy to kill the pests. I think what technology they've developed is that they produce a certain type of male which when it mates with the female, there is no offspring. So I think that is a very, seems to me, a very safe way of attacking the pests, dealing with this pest issue. N15, I think N15 is that item which is used to produce the fertility of soil. But people have a fear that if nuclear material remains in the soil, fertilizers are, if overused, they are bad for the soil. So people feel that how will this attempt to use nuclear technology, how will this affect food safety? Will the food produced in this way be safe for human consumption? I think this is one area which scientists should take up, explain to people whether this food is really safe for human consumption. Food preservation, can I depend on you to tell me the time? Okay. 3 minutes? Okay. Food preservation is another area where nuclear technology is used, and before everything else, I think let me come to medicine. I myself suffered some health problem, and nuclear technology was used to, and I'm mashallah healthy now sitting in front of you. So this, the health dimension, the health component of nuclear technology is very important because it helps in identifying tumors, their size, and if the doctors have this information, then they can help the patient. There are three things in which, three advantages of nuclear technology. One is that it helps in measurement without actually going into the area, into the whatever scenario we have. It helps in measurement from far away, whether it's size of tumor or depth of water that is available, it helps us. Maintenance of isotopes, which can be used for various types of peaceful purposes, and cost-benefit ratio is in favor of nuclear technology. So keeping all these things in mind, what I have presented is a layperson's view. Most of my work is on nuclear weapons and security and deterrence and those type of things. But I ventured into this area for this seminar, and I find it very interesting and I find it very stimulating. So perhaps in future, when I work, I'm going to concentrate also on this area, which is very important. Sometimes we forget that, we realize the strategic importance of nuclear technology. We forget all other assets, all other benefits that can accrue to us as a result of this. So I think that in future, I'm going to concentrate on this. Thank you very much for giving me very patient hearing.